Oh, welcome back. Sorry, I was just admiring my new setup and this beautiful mustache. I hope you guys can see it clearly with this low level camera, which I will be improving at some point along with my microphone. Tonight, we will be trying something that is somewhat wanted. Some people dismiss it. I'll kind of give you my little thoughts on it. So this is our next adventure in Buallz and Bourbon, or whatever we're calling it. We'll come up with that later. Tonight will be a once a year installment that I think just started semi recently, even last year maybe. I know this was the first big allocated bottle I was offered from my local liquor store. Also, I got to figure out where to put my fat head. Um, the I mean, I had gotten like Eagle Rare, Blanton's, whatever, but then this was like my first once a year bottle that was offered to me, and it was Knob Creek 18. So this is this year's, but I did get the one from last year. I initially was a little let down by last year's. I thought it left me a little wanting, especially considering I think it was 180 plus tax. Uh, so it's one of those where I kind of was like, it's okay. To be clear, talking about last year's, um, as I let it sit and as I came back around to it, I actually ended up thoroughly enjoying it. And by the bottom quarter or so of the bottle, I was really, really liking it. It's also one of those where you had to come to realize, oh yeah, it's 100 proof, so it's not going to hang with some of the higher proof things. Um, but in general, I like knob. I like the 12 years great, the 15 years pretty good. The 9-year store picks are great. Even the regular 9 year is still pretty good. All of them are pretty readily attainable, so it's not like a super hyped bottle because a lot of people just think, oh, it's Knob Creek, whoop-de-doo, you can get it anywhere. That doesn't mean it's not good. But as stated, this is Knob Creek, 18 years, Claremont, Kentucky. This is Beam stuff, so um, if you're into that sort of thing, then you may like it, you may not. I don't know. If you don't like Knob Creek, you probably won't enjoy watching this. Anyway, let's get on into it. This one I end up finding at Benny's, I think a week or two ago. I want to say it was I think it was 180 plus tax. Oops, I forgot to show the pour. Whatever. Anyway, there you go. So, kind of nice. Um, it's a little darker to be expected with an 18-year bourbon. I'm not sure how well that translates on the camera. Once again, I will be updating the camera and the mic at some point. Forgot to ask for them for Santa Claus. The nose is really good. It doesn't punch you in the face, but it's very favorable. You can tell it's not super high proof because it's not like, ugh, gives you a little bit of that astringent cringe, kind of make you pull away. Definitely has those Beam kind of characteristics. Like this almost smells like a proofed down Booker's, which would make sense. You get a little bit of the oak. It's not as oaky as you would expect for an 18-year on the nose anyway. But the nose is very pleasant. Yeah, I enjoy that quite a bit. Nose is great. Let's go ahead and get a little bit on our tongue and on our stash. Oh, hold on. Gotta go around the mustache. How do I even drink with one of these things? Mmm. That is good. I was worried because as I was kind of rolling around the tongue, it wasn't lighting up a lot of things. It kind of just sat there like 100 proof whiskey sometimes does, which isn't a bad thing. Um, but then as I started to bring it to the back and on the swallow, that's where it really kind of, oh, there it is. Um, yeah, it's kind of still lingering a little bit. Not the most complex finish in the world, but it's there. It gives you that nice little Kentucky hug. Yeah, super solid. Like I said, it's lighter on the nose, but it's very nice. It's just well balanced. Kind of sweet. A little bit of oak. Like I said, the oak isn't as apparent as I would expect it to be. But it's still there. You certainly still smell it. If you really get in there, you can get a little bit more. I think part of it too is, I think most people would agree, nose versus nose after tasting is a little different, because obviously a lot of your olfactory system ties into what's going on here in the back of your throat, back of your tongue, sort of thing. So the nose is definitely get a little more oak now. Still sweet. Still kind of that little bit of peanut-ish. But like dry. Anyway, let's get on in there again. Hope you guys had a good first week of 2024. I did. That's solid, man. Not the most complex whiskey I've ever had. Um, it's got a nice finish. The finish is probably its best feature, finish and nose. The palate does come up a little flat, but once again, it's a 100 proof whiskey, so you have to kind of curb your expectations a little bit. It's very good. I wouldn't say it's excellent. I wouldn't say it's great, um, but it's very good. Now, is very good something that you want to pay $160 to $200 for? That's a decision that you make. Me personally, like I said, the back end of my 2022 bottle, I actually ended up really enjoying. So that's what ultimately made the decision that I would buy this. It also just happened to be sitting at Benny's. There were like 6 of them, which I was surprised because they've been sitting out for I think about 2 weeks. So I was surprised to see it. Um, Truth be told, I actually even purchased it for a friend of a friend who said they had passed on it and regretted it, with the intention that if they still didn't want it, I wouldn't feel bad about keeping it. And then they actually ended up buying, I think they ended up getting like a Pappy 15 or something. So they had exhausted their booze budget for the month. As you can see, I don't really do my booze budget so well. So don't watch me if you need tips on not spending money on booze. Which I'll maybe do a separate video about the new setup. I like it. I'll probably rearrange some things. Got a little keepsake collectibles up here. Got the bangers, mostly bangers up here. I don't know how to work this. Just some other random things, some good ones, some mostly all good ones. And then the shelfers and MGP is mostly the 4th shelf or 2nd shelf from the bottom. And this is what pains me. My bottom shelf is all of my top shelf scotch. I've got some really good fucking scotch, and it's all sitting on the bottom shelf. And then I put all my unopens in my closet. There's a lot of those too. Um, Tip from someone who doesn't listen to himself: set a budget and stick to it. I don't. I'm gonna try to make that my New Year's resolution for 2024, among other things. But anyway, let's have one more drink of whiskey and just forget about spending so much on bourbon. Yeah, um, like I said, there's nothing overly complex on the palate. That's its knock. Its price is a knock. But what it is for 100 proof whiskey, this is really good stuff. I would say Knob Creek 18, 2023, 100 proof whiskey. Oh, there's a little floater in there. Wonder if I knocked the wax in there. I don't know if you can see that little particulating, as Mr. Porter would say. There you go. You can kind of see it there. Either that or some char. Don't know. But anyway, solid bottle. Is it worth 200 bucks? Questionable. I'll say it's right on the line of questionable. I wouldn't buy more than one. If you could find it at Costco or something like that for like 150, 160 bucks, I think that's definitely a buy, or anything less than that, or you could trade, or trade up for it. Definite buy. Like you could probably trade like a Stag or something for this. I don't know. I don't keep up on the secondary value of every bottle. But yeah, if you could trade like a couple Tater bottles to get this, I think it's worth it. You know, especially if you like Knob Creek. Like I said, negatives, palate, not very complex, but it is very good. I think I paid 180 plus tax, so I'm being about 200 out the door, and that it's only 100 proof. Pluses, it's 18 years. I didn't have to go and give a secret handshake to get it. It was just sitting on the shelf at Benny's. It has a fantastic nose. The finish is really good. This is a super solid sipping bourbon for maybe the not super bourbon enthusiast. So keep that in mind too. This could be something you pull out for a guest who's like, hey man, I know Knob Creek, and it's 100 proof. So I would say overall score, I'll give this probably about an 8. You thought I was going to say 1. I'd probably say an 8.2. 8.2 just based on taste alone. I wish there were a little bit more on the palate. But as mentioned, caveat, my bottle last year I was a little underwhelmed with on the top half of it, and as it got to like here down, I was like, fuck, this bottle's really good. So that, not that I'm disappointed with this, whereas last year I was a little let down, but I think hopefully this one will continue to open up, get a little bit more complexity on the palate. But nose is good, finish is good. It's very approachable for, like I said, anybody who likes bourbon, especially if you like Knob Creek or Beam products. 8.2 overall, and thanks for watching. Like I said, I'll do a separate video about my new setup that sometimes gives me anxiety, because if these shelves fail, then I would be a very upset person. Anyway, thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, share the video to your friends so they can say, man, this guy sucks at fucking videos, and his camera sucks, his mustache sucks, his sound quality sucks, but that's fine. This is something I do for fun, and if at some point it's more than that, then that's fine. But this is a nice little outlet to share my enthusiasm, which, speaking of, wearing my whiskey, bourbon, scotch enthusiast t-shirt that I got, I don't know, probably 7 years ago. An old Facebook group, look them up. It used to be about 3,000 to 5,000 people, and this was globally. Now it's like 50,000 people. That's kind of what really kindled my passion for whiskey. Mostly Scotch early on because it helped guide me a little bit. But then from there, kind of learned a little bit more about bourbon, etc. Once again, getting off on a tangent. Knob Creek 18. I say it's a buy. I say if you can get it for 200 bucks or less, it's solid. 8.2 whiskey. And now I'll end this video 2 minutes later than I meant to. Thanks a lot. Have a good night. Have a good day. Have a good whatever when you're watching this. Take care.